Today's webinar is photo imaging basics and how to really use some of the basic tools and the functions within the EARTHSCAPES software, and specifically with the Corel Photo Paint platform within EARTHSCAPES. Whether you are using Photo Paint 12 or if you're using the updated version of Corel Photo Paint X4, you'll have similar functions, similar tools to work with when you are creating your photo designs. You may ask, why do I need to be concerned about photo editing tools? This lesson, this training session, will provide you with some of the basic functions that will ultimately make your designs look a little bit better. We will walk through the tools and the steps of how to adjust some of the brightness, contrast, the color, really to enhance your before picture prior to getting started with the design creation of EARTHSCAPES, adding your design elements on to that before picture. So let's go ahead and get started. We are working with Corel Photo Paint as a reminder, and whether you're using Corel Photo Paint 12 or Corel Photo Paint X4, open up your Photo Paint platform, and those using the new EARTHSCAPES program, you would gain access to Corel Photo Paint through EARTHSCAPES, and select Corel and open up Photo Paint. Once Photo Paint opens on your screen, we'll just take a look at the toolbars. Going across the very, very top, this is the title bar. This is where you'll have a visual cue, a visual recognition of what application are you working with. And this will just confirm that we are working with the Corel Photo Paint program. This is helpful if you call in for technical support and we're just confirming which application are you using at this particular time. You can refer right back up to this horizontal top title bar area and just confirm that, yes, I am using Corel Photo Paint X4 or Corel Photo Paint 12. Just below the title bar, we have our menu bar. The menu bar has all of your functions available from drop-down menus. So you'll click on a menu item, and you'll see that the menu does expand, listing a wide array of different functions that you can perform. Just below that menu bar, we have our toolbars, and you'll see visual icons that give you shortcuts to a lot of those menu bars and the functions that were featured within the drop-down menus. So we have different toolbars that just run across the horizontal, as well as we have toolbars that run on the vertical. If you are ever missing a toolbar, either in the horizontal or the vertical, or perhaps our vertical toolbar looks a little different than, say, the tutorial lesson, or you can't find some tools that used to be there, one aspect that might be different, and just for you to verify, is make sure you have the right toolbars selected. To do so, take your cursor, your mouse, up to the top horizontal toolbar area in the gray region, and we're going to right-click. With the right-click, this will pull up all of your toolbars that are available for you. The ones that have a checkbox, these are the toolbars that are selected and that you have in view within your Corel Photo Paint program. So our menu bar is selected, our status bar, which falls down at the bottom of our screen, is selected, our standard bar, property bar, and the very last selection is the VII toolbox. The VII toolbox, that's where all of our custom EARTHSCAPES tools are located. And if we go over to the left-hand side of our screen, this is the VII toolbox. So if you don't have this toolbar, this toolbox, with the clone, with the texture tool, with your texture fill, you don't have your visual impact toolbox selected. You need to pull up this toolbar and put a check next to the VII toolbox. If you already have a toolbar in place on the left-hand side, but it doesn't look like that, look like the one that's on our left-hand side of the screen right now, most likely you just have the standard toolbox. So we'll uncheck standard toolbox and we'll make sure that there is a check by the VII toolbox. Okay, so that's just a general description of just the interface and how the application window looks, and kind of really focusing on some of those main areas, the main parts of the Corel Photo Paint application. But let's get started with a photo. So as you begin creating a photo design, we will be using Corel Photo Paint. And to obtain or open up a digital image, there are a couple of different ways that you can do so. We'll go to File and Open, and we can navigate to a location on our computer where we have saved this image to. You could also navigate directly to your camera or directly to an SD card. Wherever that photo is saved to, that's the location of where you'll want to open it from. So right now we do have, this is really our location for our particular image, and if I'd like to change location, I could select my pictures, I could select a different shared drive if I wanted to go into maybe a removable drive, or if I wanted to search my camera. We could locate that particular device on the left-hand side of our screen. And of course, I'm going to go to a removable hard drive, and then we'll locate a specific catalog that we'd like to work with and use, and then we'll navigate to the photo that we'd like to work with. So this is a project that I like to use, and we'll click on Open. If your picture opens up and it is at a zoomed in level, so let me just go ahead and make a change here. I'm just going to make a change to 100% so you can see what I'm talking about. If your image opens up such as this, you can only see a portion of your photo. Go to the horizontal toolbar area and locate the zoom level box. We'll use that drop-down menu and we'll select to fit. So it's going to bring it right back up to a full screen. There is a default that we can make a change to. So your image always opens up at that 100%, that full screen view. To do so, let's go to Tools, down to Options. And within our options window, you'll locate General on the left-hand side. So we left-click on General. Our General page is open, and our opening zoom, this is what we want to look at. Right now it says Best Fit. Yours probably says 100%. In order to see that image as a full screen, each time you open up your photos of your project sites, click on Best Fit and then click OK. The next time you open up a picture, it's going to open it up as a full frame rather than a zoomed in view. So we've made a change to our zoom level. Another aspect that I'd like for you to check prior to getting started on your design project, and this is just using some of the photo editing tools to your advantage. EARTHSCAPES is built on Corel Photo Paint. You have all the professional photo editing tools available within Corel Photo Paint as you're working with the EARTHSCAPES software. And if anyone is questioning, or if anybody has used Adobe Photoshop, Corel Photo Paint and Adobe Photoshop are somewhat similar. So if you've had any experience, or if you have others in your office that are familiar with Adobe Photoshop, they're going to be able to navigate and move and work with the tools very easily within the Corel Photo Paint application. So let's just take a look at another aspect and something that we can change with our before picture prior to getting started. Many of you are using high-end digital cameras, which are great. They're taking awesome photographs, awesome digital pictures. The only concern with digital cameras, you do want to take a look at the resolution or the physical size in which your camera is taking the photos. Many times these cameras are taking a picture that is 24 inches by 36 inches. It's huge. It's 2 feet by 3 feet. It's enormous. You're never going to print a photo design out to that scale, that large of a physical print. So there's no need to keep that physical size. number one is you don't need that physical size because it's going to eat up hard drive space when you go to save your final design. So we just need to reduce or make that file size smaller. That way when we're finished with the design, the file size will be a lot more manageable for you to save on your computer or in an external hard drive location. Also, you can manage that file a lot easier when you're emailing or corresponding or uploading that file at a later date. So to make a change to the size of your image, let's go to Image on the top menu bar, and we'll locate Resample. Click on Resample. And within our Resample screen, you'll see, okay, I'm looking at my image size right now, and it is showing 7 inches by 5 inches. So we have 7.6 listed in this increment box. And then we see our units, which is listed at inches right now. So 7 inches by 5 inches. Well, that's great. You don't need to go any smaller. In fact, if you wanted to, you could increase this a little bit if you wanted to print on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. The one concern that I have, though, is the 300 DPI. That's dots per inch. And the 300 DPI is driving up our image size to an 11 meg file, which is enormous. It's quite big. And if we kept our file at this high resolution, it is going to balloon. It's going to only get bigger and bigger, and it's going to be an enormous file for us to save at the completion. As well, it's going to be very difficult to email this file over to a print shop or over to a customer or a colleague. So let's just make a few modifications here. If I change my DPI to 100, you'll notice that immediately original file size is 11, the new image file size is 1.2, and that's megabytes. So that new image size is much more manageable. The other thing that I would suggest, if you are printing something on an 8.5 by 11, I would suggest let's just go ahead and modify this physical size to maybe a little bit larger than 8.5 by 11, or you could go exactly more of the 8 by 11 ratio. When you adjust one of the dimensions, if I adjust the width, the Corel Photo Paint program will automatically adjust that height for me. And what that's doing is maintaining the aspect ratio. So you only have to enter in one value for the dimension. The program will automatically take care of the second value, and that's going to maintain the aspect ratio. It's not going to distort your photo. So let's click on OK. It's processing, and you say, oh, it's a little bit smaller than what I expected. No worries. Let's just go back to our zoom level box, and we'll just make a change and select to fit. So there we are. We're in a nice big screen. So let's just do another to fit. Okay. This particular image, you can see that it is a little underexposed. It's a little dark. And this might happen if you are out on a job site. Perhaps you have the only opportunity to take this picture as the sun is coming up, or maybe the sun is going down, or perhaps it's overcast that day. You don't have ample sunlight for an outdoor photograph or a nice clear outdoor photograph. Or maybe this is a very shaded area. Maybe this is in a woody section, a shaded section of the property. You take a picture, you come back to your office, you open it up and you see that it's a little bit dark. No worries, we can work with this photo, and I would suggest making a change to the brightness of this before picture prior to getting started with your design. The only reason being is as we drag and drop plant materials on top of this darkened image, they're obviously going to stand out. So let's make a change to the brightness contrast and really brighten up this image before creating our design. To do so, of course, we have our photo open. We have our project site open. Let's use the VI toolbox, our custom toolbar that's available on the left vertical toolbar. And we're going to locate the brightness contrast tool. It looks like a sun and a moon. When you place your cursor, you place your mouse over top of that sun-moon icon. on the left vertical toolbar, you'll see that you have a cursor flyout indicating brightness, contrast, intensity. We also have a shortcut, keyboard shortcut listed, which is Control B, that immediately allows for you to get to this function, get to this tool as well. So let's just left click on the brightness, contrast, intensity button. It brings up a screen, a window for us to work with, and this window does offer sliding scales. So you'll notice the first is brightness, the second contrast, the third intensity. These sliding scales allow for you to make adjustments to the different values that are over to the left. So we can just make some changes, you can tweak. There's really no direct science for these sliding scales. We just have to kind of work and manipulate these scales as needed and until we get to our desired look. So if we make some changes, we can move this brightness, contrast, intensity window around if we need to see our photo a little bit better. And again, you just make some changes, make some tweaks. We don't want it to be too washed out, and of course you can just move these sliding scales to the left, to the right. You can move them to the extreme to really get a good feel of how they are affecting your before picture, your job site. I think that looks pretty good. We can always adjust this brightness maybe a little bit more. You bring our contrast, not so much. But it just takes a little bit of tweaking, just some modification, and then we'll click on OK. So that's a little bit brighter for us to work with and use. Of course, then we can begin our design process from this point after we've made those changes. The other tool that you may work with, not on a frequent basis, but you may have some photos that come in, they're not real clear with a color. Maybe the color value is slightly off. This color balance does allow for you to make changes. Let's say you are beginning with a scanned-in image. Maybe this is an old photograph that has a sepia tone to it, and we need to do some color correction to this before picture. The color balance tool allows for you to adjust those sliding scales and make some changes just with a left click. And you'll make some small adjustments, make some large adjustments. That way you can get a good feeling of where you're at and which adjustments need to be made. If you don't want to perform any changes to your before picture, you could just simply click on Cancel. Another tool that I'd like to share with you for today's training on photo imaging basics is the crop tool. The crop tool is a great function if we do have a project site, and perhaps our project site has the neighbors, it has additional areas, and it has a lot of road, street view, this other driveway. We don't need that. We don't need these additional spaces for our design. So what we'll do is we'll crop down this image. We'll really use that crop tool to eradicate those areas along the outside of what we're really focusing on, and that's the house and the front yard and maybe a little bit of an extension from the garage. So the crop tool, again, let's go to our left vertical toolbar and we'll select our crop tool. As you place your cursor over top of the crop tool, you'll see that you have a cursor flyout and a keyboard shortcut. So just left click on the crop tool. And this crop tool, you'll notice that my cursor, my object pick tool, has changed to the crop function. So our crop tool is in view, it's on our screen. To crop a selected area, I left click and I drag my cursor open. So I'm creating a rectangle. So left click, hold down that left mouse button and drag open a rectangle and release. And you'll see that we were able to get rid of a lot of the cement, the road, the driveway. We were able to get rid of some of this house on the right-hand side, the neighbors. We were able to kind of eradicate a lot of the sky that we did not need, as well as some of the left-hand side view of this particular project site. Now, there's really no science to how much you crop your image. but we could make further adjustments. And you'll notice after you have cropped your area, you've selected this region to crop, you'll notice you have resizing nodes that appear around your crop selection. These resizing nodes allow for you to squeeze into the horizontal or vertical. So we can just left click and squeeze in. If we think, oh, you know what, that's a little too much, I still want to show some of the front yard, we can just expand that a little bit more. If you like to resize proportionally, grab a hold of the corner nodes and we can resize to make this crop selection smaller or larger. The other feature within the crop tool we can use is we can left click inside and we can left click and move this crop selection around on our screen to center our crop area as needed. Once you have reached that desired look for the crop, right click inside and you can select crop to selection and zip. We now have a nice tight picture of what we'd like to work with and what we'd like to design. Let's go back up to our horizontal toolbar. And this is our zoom level. Click on the drop-down arrow and select to fit. You'll see this brings us right back to a full screen. And perhaps we'd like to use the magnifying glass or the zoom tool. So let's just take a look at that magnifying glass. Left click on the zoom tool, and with my cursor, it has changed to the magnifying glass, I can left click on the area that I'd like to zoom in. And if we want to zoom back out quickly, I would just right click. So a left click to zoom in and a right click to zoom out. Another way to zoom in very quickly is a left click and drag open a rectangle. So you left click, you hold down that left mouse button and you drag open an area to select the section that you'd like to zoom within. If you don't like the desired result, we can go to our zoom level box and select to fit, and that will bring you right back out to a full screen. So we hope today's training session on photo imaging basics is helpful as you get started, or even as just a refresher. Having the refresher of what tools can provide the different functions, the different features to your photo designs will really enhance your projects at the completion of your landscape design, your photo designs. So thanks for joining us today, and if you have further questions about the EARTHSCAPES software and the photo editing tools within the program, you can give our office a call. But thanks for your time, and we look forward to working with you on future training webinars. Bye-bye.